Chad from Law&Crime. Michael Bryant here. Well, the Idaho jury is on their lunch recess in the trial against 49-year-old Lori Vallow Daybell. You know what that means. That means we have pride from the courtroom. Our own Gigi McKelvey, she's been there since the very beginning. I think she's actually now registered in Idaho. She can vote there. This mom is facing the deaths of her two children, Tylee and JJ. She's also facing charges in connection with the death of her husband's first wife, 49-year-old Tammy Daybell. Meanwhile, Chad Daybell, Vallow's husband, still facing similar charges, but waiting for his trial to come up at a later date, maybe the end of this year. So now, as we always like to do, I'm going to bring you Law&Crime correspondent Gigi McKelvey. She's been there since the beginning, as I suggest. You got your own parking space now, I'm guessing, Gigi. You must have some local perks as well. So welcome. Always good to have you. I can't wait to hear what's been going on today.
It's been a day. I tell you, there's been some weird things said. So Ian Pawlowski was up on the stand first thing this morning for cross-exam. Now, the defense wanted these wiretaps to come in, and we had a hearing outside the presence of the jury. Ultimately, Judge Boyce decided that it's hearsay, and they couldn't come in, but if anything was contradicted in its testimony, it could bring those in. That didn't happen. But we got a little bit of insight into the day Alex Cox died and how Melanie was told, his wife, who was Lori's niece, by the way, and they talked about some joint calls they had with Lori and Chad, Zulema, and Lori's brother Alex before he died. And he was sick at that point. He had been complaining of some symptoms before, and just some very bizarre statements made during that call.
So there were a number of these calls. I think as many as 9 is what I recall were in dispute. So give us some of the juiciest material that came from these calls. And my first question was, why was he recording them?
Well, Ian was concerned because you have to remember, he only knew Melanie about 10 days before they got married. They met on an app there in Rexburg, met up, and 10 days later were husband and wife. And so the next morning after they got married, Melanie Pawlowski, his new wife, just unloaded and told him all of these concerns she had about the safety of JJ and Tylee, and maybe Alex had to take a shot at Brandon and those kind of things. And he got really, really worried about his safety, his kids' safety, his ex-wife's safety. So he went to authorities in Rexburg not long after he got married to tell them his concerns. He agreed to wear a wire. And so he recorded about 9 conversations for the FBI over a period of about 2 weeks. On one of those recordings, this is just so bizarre, but Alex and Zulema are on this, as well as Lori, Chad, and Melanie Pawlowski. Alex was not feeling well, so Lori said that she cast Satan out of his body, rolled Satan up like a taco, and shipped him off to Antarctica. Now, I have tacos for lunch right here. If you need a demonstration, I got you covered.
I don't know. I think I've just lost my appetite for tacos. And so, you know, these are just bizarre conversations, and yet they seem to unfold as if it's just, hey, you know, what'd you have for lunch? How is the jury reacting? What are you seeing on their faces when they hear this stuff?
Well, when that comment was made, there were a lot of puzzled looks. Kind of, did I really just hear that? We all sort of looked at each other. I double read what I typed on Twitter to make sure that's what I heard. It was what I heard. And so they've, other than Ian, it's been a little bit slower until this last witness, who is from Kauai and was part of the team that served Lori with the order to produce her children, as well as executed the search warrants in the car they were driving and the condo they were staying in. So that's been a little interesting to see what they found with those search warrants. So
let's talk about that Hawaii connection there. We know that the couple, the happy couple, was in Hawaii at the same time saying, hey, the kids are fine. We know now the kids were not fine. They were, in fact, dead in a horrible condition on Chad's property. So did the jury see this video of the two in Hawaii during that happy time?
We did see that video. Just to go back just a second, what's interesting, too, is on the call where on the day that Alex Cox died, this was actually before he died, Chad called and told Melanie Pawlowski there was going to be a spiritual attack and that she needed to go into hiding. So Ian thought that was very interesting that that was said before Alex died. But back to Hawaii, we did see that video. I believe it's body cam. They didn't specify. But you see Lori in a blue bikini laying in a lounge chair. Chad's beside her in some swim trunks. And they ask, are you Lori and Chad? They say they are. They hand Lori those papers that was to produce Tylee and JJ to the Idaho Department of Welfare or the Rexburg PD by a certain date. And she kind of looked a little perturbed, to say the least. She was looking through the paperwork carefully. At one point, she stopped looking at the paperwork and just looked at these police officers, and then they told them to have a nice day. Then we moved on to the search warrant of that black SUV, which had so many things in it. 15 copies of Charles Vallow's death certificate. There were several copies of JJ's birth certificate. Laptops. One of them had JJ's initials written in red on the back. Computers. There was Tylee Ryan's bank card. All kinds of things. That Social Security cards, by the way. And just things, why are you carrying those around on your honeymoon in Hawaii?
Yeah, I'm guessing those questions have not yet been answered, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we know now why all that was in her possession, because clearly they didn't need to be with the children, unfortunately. But it's been very bizarre. The attitude she had on that video really stuck out to me, sort of, you're bothering me. And I don't think that was lost on the jury. I saw one juror just kind of cross her arms and watch the video and look at Lori and kind of go back and forth between doing that. The whole time this video is being played, it really, I think her attitude came across as, your kids are missing, but you look bothered, your sunbathing was interrupted.
Exactly, yeah. And we do know that conversation with the cops in Hawaii is the basis for one of the charges, one of the very minor charges, but the one in which she was asked to produce the kids and failed to do that, which led to her extradition and where you are now. So what's the rest of today look like?
We still have the officer from Kauai on the stand. We do not know anybody else as far as who's going to testify. I was anticipating maybe after Ian, we would have Melanie Pawlowski at least on the stand to find out her exposure to the trial before she came here, but we haven't seen her yet, and I have not seen anybody else associated with her since Ian left the stand. So your guess is as good as mine. It always seems to be a bit of a surprise when a witness walks in. We're just not given any heads up, and that witness list has been sealed since before the trial. I
always like those moments, though, when somebody comes in who you've been anticipating. It's everybody's, kind of eyeballing them. Hey, big picture, how are things moving along? It seems rapid from our perspective here, but what's your take?
Yeah, it's going very quickly. I think we could be done maybe by the end of this week, at least with the state. So, I mean, it's just rolling right along. There's not much cross at all. And that's kind of how it's been for 4 weeks of testimony. It's very brief. So we're rolling through these witnesses, and I think we're making progress and getting towards the tail end of this case finally.
Wow.
I think everybody's ready for it to be over with. Okay, well, as always, Gigi, great work there. You really, without your perspective from inside the courtroom, we're stuck with the audio that I love so much. But we'll check with you again. Go have your tacos and, get back in that courtroom. We'll check in with you with more detail as always. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you, sir. You bet. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break here. We have more Lori Vallow Daybell on the other side. As you know, we're not getting video. Have I mentioned that? But we do have audio on a delayed basis, so we'll bring you some of that when we come back on this break. Here we go.